Okay, our question that we're going to answer is, how do plants survive changing environments? And we have to think about um, outside of Florida, most places have changing environments over the course of a year. The environment changes as the seasons change. So what we're going to talk about is plants and how do they survive changing environments. That's just the area around them that changes. Let's push it in. Okay, so how do plants survive changing environments? Well, one of the best ways to talk about it is that plants undergo life cycles. And the life cycle in plants is usually dependent on the seasons or the environment. And let's say, for example, we have spring, summer, fall, or autumn, which is something that people call it as well, and winter. And the plant's life cycle changes depending on which time of year it is. Okay, so in a typical spring, summer, fall, and winter cycle, you would have pretty obvious spring weather where it's starting to get, the days are starting to get long and the weather's starting to get warmer. And usually what happens is that plants start to sprout in the spring. They start to come out. They're sensing that the weather is getting warmer. Okay, so we'll have plants starting to come up. And then by the time summer comes around, the plants are usually flowering or producing their seeds and spores. Okay, that's when the pollinators come out and make sure that everything's going fine and happy. And when the plants are pollinated, they produce their seeds. And what happens in the fall is the plants start to die off. Okay, and the seeds are dispersed, and that means they're spread out. So the seeds will start to spread out. And then in the winter, what happens is the seeds go dormant, or they have a rest because the snow is on the ground and it's too cold. And so they'll have a little period of dormancy. So this life cycle where it's just starting to sprout, then flowering, then seed dispersal, then a dormancy stage is a life cycle that goes with a changing environment. Because in the spring, it's still cool outside. The days are starting to get longer. In the summer, it's warm. The sun is shining for a long period of time. In the fall, it starts to get cooler and the days start to get shorter. And then in the winter, it's cold and usually snowy, and the days are shorter. So the life cycle of the plant would go with the changing environment. Okay, another way that plants adapt and survive in changing environments is we have to think about, say, in a desert environment or in a tropical environment, they actually have a hot season and a rainy season, or actually, let's call it a dry season and a rainy season. And during the dry season, the plant will not do anything. So the seeds are sitting there underground, dormant. And seeds are pretty good at being dormant. They'll, some seeds can survive for many, many years, actually hundreds and hundreds of years, because there's seeds that just keep perpetuating or coming back to life after the rainy season. So in the rainy season, the rain falls, and the little seed starts to germinate, okay, and he'll become a plant pretty quickly, okay. So he'll start to come up, and then you'll have the flowering part, production of seeds, and then the seed dispersal, and then the plant will go dormant again. And all of this will happen within a very, very short period of time, sometimes even 2 to 3 weeks. You'll have a plant going through its whole life cycle in a very short time, because the rainy season sometimes is only a couple of weeks, And then for the rest of the year, the rain does not fall and it goes back into the dry season. So the life cycle will be accelerated in those types of environments.